Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Ariel Helwani Show!
The Ariel Helwani Show is back in your life on this final week of December 2024. Yes, it is the final days of the 2024 calendar year. And so, since the holidays are just about to be in full swing, and since we're on our holiday programming schedule, we thought, you know what, we could either go dark, we could either not give you guys anything like we used to do back in the old days when we were just lazy bums, or we can give you some special holiday programming. And so here we are on this lovely, lovely Monday to look ahead at the year to come in mixed martial arts. Now you may be wondering, all right, so the lads are looking ahead to 2025. Have they looked back at 2024? No, because technically the year isn't done just yet. And I'm a stickler for this. You have to do the award show after December 31st. And so we could have, again, just gone dark and waited. Nah, let's look ahead. And so, yes, today on the program, we will look ahead to 2025. And of course, on the 6th of January, we will be back doing our live award show. Yes, the 2024 Helwani Knows Awards, the most prestigious award show and the most robust in all of sports, not just combat sports, all of sports. And so today on the program, myself, Rick, GC, Petesy, we'll all look ahead to 2025. We'll look into our crystal balls. We'll make some predictions, some bold, some not so bold. Talk about fights we want to see. Talk about who we think will be the male and female fighter of the year. You know, we used to do this on the Ringer MMA show with 3Puck, and it was a grand old time. And I've referenced actually my male fighter of the year pick several times throughout the year. It was Arman Tsarukyan for 2024, and perhaps that will come to fruition for 2025. I missed it for 2024, but it's a fun game. It's a fun time. It's fun to look ahead and prognosticate. And so without further ado, let me say hello to the boys in the back and Petesy.
Who is a boy in the back?
I'm still not sure. I'm not sure. Is it boys in the back and Petesy?
He's one of the boys.
Municipality.
Is he in the back?
Existed on an island.
Yeah. The boys in the back and across the pond.
Guys, come on. It's the holidays. Let's come together.
Yeah, let's come together. Let's come together. Well,
I'm sending you love.
It's great to be here, guys. It's great to be here. 2025 figures to be a massive year in MMA. As Dana White likes to say, every year gets bigger. Every year they top themselves. And honestly, over the last few years, they have done just that. And it's a very important year for the UFC with their big TV deal, coming to a head. Their UFC on ESPN deal expiring at the end of 2025, and perhaps that will be a topic that we will talk about on this here program. But you know what? Let's start with a fun sort of fighting topic, if you will. We all are here talking about fights. We're all here, previewing and looking back, recapping all that stuff and more. And so I feel like there are several fights that are on the horizon, that are perhaps on the cusp of being made. Big ones that we're all looking forward to, that we're saying, come 2025, we have to see this one. And so let's kick things off with fights we must see in the year 2025. And here's a spoiler for all of you guys. Let me break the fourth wall. None of us know each other's answers for any of these categories, if you will, any of these topics, except for one topic. And it's this topic. And that's why I wanted to get it out of the way. Because On Air Jordan, our fearless producer, told me before the show that we all have, some fights mentioned, but the number one pick for each and every one of us, and it's the only category that we're all in unison on, for fights we need to see come 2025, there's only one choice at the very top of the list, and of course, it is the heavyweight unification bout in the UFC. It is Johnny Bones Jones versus the Pride of Manchester, the one and only. Yeah, that's the one, guys. This is the one. Each and every one of us, according to On Air Jordan, put it at the very top of the list. Petesy, are you surprised by this?
Absolutely not. It is gonna be a story that develops throughout the year. I honestly feel like I know Dana's confident. I really hope that that's accurate, and I really hope that this is a quick thing and it's quickly dealt with, and we get a date and everything's rosy. But I just don't feel like it's going to be that easy based on John Jones's his talk about this throughout the year, and you know how up and down he seems to be about it. So yeah, I'd love to see the fight. It's the biggest fight they can make. I agree with everything that Dana White said about this. I think it would be absolutely huge, and yeah, I really hope it happens. Tom Aspinall deserves it, and I think it's a great fight.
Rick, you just made a face when I said that. Do you disagree with this?
It was my number 2, but I'm being gaslit
Wow.
into pretending that it was my number 1. But
Wait
it
a
was
second,
my
wait a
number
second.
What was the number 1?
Wait,
Everyone stop chatting shit.
okay, first
It
of
was
all,
my number 2.
First of all, Ben Eubank is not an MMA fight, so that doesn't count.
That can't possibly be his number 1.
No, it was not.
Second of all, I feel like I was told by On Air Jordan that this was all our top pick.
It was. Everybody had it on their
Said that to
list.
me, too.
Everybody had it higher on their list. It was my number 2. It was. So you know what? More fairly, it's a 1B. It's my 1B.
What's 1A?
Hamzat versus the middleweight champion, whoever it is.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's
my
my
second
number
one,
one.
yeah.
By the way, it's not like there's no opponent there. It's just
What do you mean?
Hamzat
I don't
versus-
need an opponent. Hamzat
Oh.
versus
Hamzat
whoever.
title shot.
Title shot.
Because
Hamzat.
this was my number 2 as well.
Number 1.
This was my
Yeah,
number
same
2.
here.
Easy.
What?
Aspinall Jones was the
Easy.
clear
Already
number 1.
falling off the rails.
Easy.
Oh,
Easy. Light work.
this is almost as bad as Ronda Rousey.
No, you
comeback
are,
fighter.
you are
That's all-
out of your
that-
mind.
that
You're
take-
out of your mind. That take
is as bad as the Ronda
yeah,
Rousey
thank
one.
you.
Really?
How
This-
do you not want to see
This
the
is
most
it.
feared man in the UFC
Okay,
fight for a title?
I didn't mean to derail this because I do want to say
No, this is it.
Tom
This is the
Aspinall,
conversation.
Tom Aspinall, and John Jones is like to your point, Ariel. This doesn't have an opponent, right? We don't know
Right.
who this could potentially be. This could be Drickus. This could be
Sean Strickland.
Sean Strickland. This could be anybody in the middleweight division by the time it happens, potentially for Hamzat. Tom versus John is an unmissable matchup. It is the two guys that are at the top of the UFC's heavyweight division and are seemingly on a collision course. What are the obstacles to make it? We know there is so much potentially that could make it not happen, but I'm optimistic that it will. And
I
so
just feel like I get it. The notion of him fighting is big. It's exciting. Finally, we've been waiting for this. But to even put it in the same stratosphere as Jones Aspinall, which has story and friction and backstory and history attached to it, like, come on, Hamzat versus DDP or Strickland, like, those are great fights, but they're not necessarily blockbuster.
you're alone here. You're alone.
Wow, Petesy,
no,
come on,
no.
back me.
No, I actually like Aspinall Jones is my number 1 far and away.
Right.
Number 2 was Hamzat getting a title shot.
Mine was 2 as well, but the one is out there by a long way.
By a long way.
Wait,
I
you
feel
had the
like-
Hamzat thing too in there?
Number 2.
Yeah, the second, yeah.
Wow.
Hamzat title shot. Yeah.
Wow, this is crazy. I guess I am on the island.
You're on the island.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was
Listen,
no
I'm interested. I'm excited. In fact, I thought he should get the title shot before Sean Strickland. Like, I wanted him to be next. I wanted it to be DDP versus Hamzat right now, and apparently DDP wanted the same. But when I think of a fight, like when I think of this particular category, I think of, okay, I need two guys. What is a fight that if by the end of 2025, December 31st, 2025, if this fight doesn't happen, I will be very upset. And it's Jones Aspinall. It's the easiest one. Now, there are big fights that we already know are happening, but I'm just saying, like, a fight that hasn't been made just yet, it's that one. That's the one up there. That's honestly, can I tell you what my number 2 is? My number 2 is Juliana Pena against Kayla Harrison, because that hasn't been made just yet. I want to see that fight. The backstory is great. The friction is great. Like, Hamzat doesn't even have an opponent attached to it. How could you even put it in this
none
discussion?
needed.
Since 2020, this guy, like a rocket in this welterweight division, like just the best prospect we've ever seen in the sport. And since that day, in March 2020, whatever it was, we've been saying, this guy's going to fight for a title. This guy is going to fight for a title. All of these obstacles, and some of them self-imposed, some of them, self-inflicted damage, have happened where he hasn't been able to fight for a title. But every time we see him, bar maybe the Gilbert Burns fight, and he wasn't all that impressive against Usman, he looks like a complete destroyer. Like, surely you understand, like, there's a want from the fan base to see if this guy can take that step. And heavy lies the crown. How does he do with that pressure? We saw, you look back in his career, he folded at a certain point. But during that COVID thing, the pressure of the world was on him. You had Chechen dictators saying that they're going to get him back into the ring. It was outrageous what was happening. It was crazy. I'm not trying to say I'd deal with it any better, but what will he look like as a champion? Can he deliver for this promotion? It's already an issue with his geography right now, where he can fight and whatnot. I think it's a very compelling thing. There's many layers to it, so I think it's a good choice.
He summed it up nicely. I've been itching for a Hamzat title shot way longer than I've been itching for a Tom Aspinall title shot.
Yes, it has been a yearly tradition of mine to bet Hamzat champion by end of 2022, 2023. I have a ticket right now that I'm about to rip up for 2024 as well. Like, and not even did he even fight for a title and not win it. He never even got the shot. I've been dying to see this man fight for a title. So that is.
You have one for 2025?
I'm gonna get one.
Yeah,
I always will. That'll be my number 2 behind Aspinall Jones.
Yeah, I understand that we've been wanting it longer, but then a new thing comes along that you want even more.
Pretty good.
Listen, I'm not going to dog it because I want to see it as well, just not in that stratosphere. And when I think of, okay, 2 people that I need to see, that's at the top of the list. And honestly, Kayla versus Juliana is second because I think the build for that is going to be fun. And here I am sitting here and saying like, okay, there has to be an opponent attached. I will just say as an honorable mention, a scenario that involves a fight that I would love to see come to fruition in the year 2025 is the Dustin Poirier retirement fight in Louisiana and in New Orleans.
Against?
To be exact.
Come on, again? Come on.
I knew it. I knew
Yeah, I mean,
it.
yeah, you teed yourself up for this.
You set yourself up
No
for this.
opponent. No opponent.
You set yourself
Not
up
even in
for
the
this.
same stratosphere.
What
Not
is
even in
this
the same
stratosphere
Do you know what
talk?
this is like?
Same
This is
exact
like
thing.
the rankings thing.
This
Remember he
is
said if someone beats
crazy.
someone, they have to be ahead of him in the
This
rankings.
is
And then
wild.
Volk lost to
This is
Islam,
so-
and suddenly it was.
This
I
is
okay.
want to see.
wild.
I said it's a scenario. It's a scenario that I want to see come to fruition. I didn't put it.
We're 5 minutes into this,
This
and you've
is
already dropped 2,
wild.
not even in the same
Not
stratospheres
even
on us.
the scenario.
Stratosphere.
It's a feel-good moment. It's a scenario that I want to see. Who wants? Are you really going to poo-poo the idea of Dustin Poirier getting a retirement
Nobody's
fight
poo-pooing Dustin.
in the
We're
Bayou?
poo-pooing your poo-pooing
Oh
of the
my
Hamzat.
God.
Your poo-pooing earned the poo-pooing that
We
you're
are
now receiving.
poo-pooing your
And,
poo-pooing.
and I had an opponent attached
No
to it.
way.
On air, Jordan just didn't put it up.
No way
It
you
was
shit on us.
investigation.
No way you shit on us for the title shot, and then we show a graphic of Dustin Poirier versus
I didn't make
the
that
gloves
graphic.
being laid down in the octagon.
I didn't make this a great graphic, but I didn't make it. I didn't make the graphic.
Jordan catching
I had nothing to
straight.
do with the graphic. It's a great graphic.
Jordan catching
It's a nice
straight.
graphic.
How come?
We just got
Where's my graphics?
slandered for a Hamzat title shot, and then
it's
we
a
put
great-
this graphic up.
You know what? It's a great graphic.
Magic.
It's a great graphic.
Shout out Jordan.
That was
It's one of
great.
the all-time
That was
great graphics. But I just want to say it's a scenario.
Yeah,
It's not necessarily a fight. By the way, going back to Aspinall and Jones,
Yeah.
is anyone among us of the belief that it doesn't happen?
I think it does.
I'm hopeful, man, but I don't know.
I can't say either way. Like I can't go. It's gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
I'm right
And
there with
we've-
PT. I'm on the line. I don't know. I really don't.
And nothing anyone could say apart from the 2 of them being in the octagon would make me feel like it's gonna happen.
I wonder if any books are going to offer a line on whether or not it happens.
I think it's a matter of circumstance. Truly, the UFC is going to be halfway through their calendar year, and they're going to think, do we need this fight or do we not need this fight? And we've got a big rights deal coming up. There's an opportunity here. They might just pull out the checkbook and pay John Jones what he needs to make this fight happen, or they might be flying so high and not need it, and John Jones stays on the sideline. I really think it's going to be a matter of circumstance for the UFC if they need John Jones and Tom Aspinall to happen.
I keep going back and forth.
Yeah.
New York Fight Week, I was like, John is trolling. And then post Stipe fight, I was like, man, I actually think this guy is going to stick to his guns. And then the Dana comment, 100%, but also hey, this is the guy who says publicly he doesn't want to fight him, but privately he does. I don't know what to believe. I'll just say this. I'm leaning towards I think it happens, but I'm also not going to be surprised if it doesn't happen. Does that make sense?
It does, totally. I think everybody is in that same boat, and it is also helping your case for the anticipation of it. Like, it makes me want it more. The fact that there's certain, I'm fairly certain Hamzat will fight for a title as long as he remains healthy, right? There's kind of an assumption of that. And we know there's certain fights that are happening, right? In January, we will have Islam versus Arman. It's a great fight. It's one I've been looking forward to. We know we're going to have it. The fact that we don't know we're going to have it actually makes me want it more, and it will continue to kind of elevate the desire for it. So I don't know. I just don't know, but it's an incredible fight.
I would love to see it. I would love to see it at Allegiant Stadium. It's not going to happen. It will probably, if it does happen, it's going to go down at T-Mobile, I would imagine. But I'm still torn, and that's why I have it at the top of my list, because it's like I want to see this so bad that we must manifest it.
You can't have it. That's what makes it. Or at the moment,
Maybe.
it seems like you can't have it. That's what makes it so enticing.
Anyone else have any other fights that they must see come 2025? Must see that's not already booked, that we don't think is a fait accompli, that we must see. There's a lot of great fights that we want to see.
Shevchenko Fierro.
Yeah, I had that on there. Bilal versus Shavkat.
Yeah. I've got some Poirier versus Holloway, so I'll give you an opponent for your Dustin. I need to see Poirier versus Holloway. That first one was one of the best fights I've ever seen.
You want that to be the Poirier retirement fight?
I'm not pushing Poirier into retirement because he looks so damn good. He's not one of those guys that I'm looking at and going like, the best years are behind. It's certainly like, I don't know if the championship is going to happen, but at this point, like Poirier could fight Holloway, Gaethje, all these guys again, and I'm super happy with it. If it's the last one, great, because I think Holloway and him are fantastic together. But he could do more. I'm down for it. I had O'Malley versus Jan. I would love to see 5 rounds of that. That one is high on my wish list.
Great show.
5 rounds of O'Malley versus Jan is like, whew, that's it. I had Kayla and Juliana Pena. I would like to see Alex Pereira versus a heavyweight. I don't have a name.
Not necessarily the champion, but just like
not necessarily the champion.
James Irvin, Anderson Silva-esque.
Exactly. You give Alex Pereira a heavyweight fight, and then maybe he's winner of the potential Jones and Aspinall, and now we're cooking with gas. I don't know if it's 2025 though. That might be 2026. So,
I mean, if he gets by Magomed, even if he loses
end
to
of
Magomed,
year, you get a heavyweight fight in after Magomed. That could be something. As you said, win or lose, right? You could go up to heavyweight on a loss the same way he did for light heavyweight. So Alex versus a heavyweight, I'd be signing up for that.
Setting the line at 2 fights. Alex Pereira, over under.
Over.
Yeah, hard not to say over. Especially with the way things line up. He last fought in October. He can fight early in 2024.
Yeah, it's just
through the summer and fall again.
I know. Well, I was gonna say, like, okay, if he comes back in April, maybe he's now missed like the first 4 months of the year, but his first fight of 2024 was in April, and he fought 3 times in the span
He's
of 6
the
months.
reliable guy when it comes to this.
Yeah.
April, July, Madison Square Garden. 3 more fights.
Ooh. Who's he fighting at Madison Square Garden?
Tom Aspinall for the heavyweight strap.
Wow. So Aspinall's fighting in July and then November.
So Aspinall beats John Jones.
Wow.
The undisputed
Holy
heavyweight
shit.
champ at International Fight Week, Madison Square Garden. Alex Pereira, Tom Aspinall. Yeah, go ahead and sign me up for that one.
Wow.
Cooking
with gas. PT, any others that you want to mention?
I had Shevchenko Fierro, I had Pereira Aspinall on the, if Jones doesn't happen, obviously, Bilal Shavkat and Hamzat title shot.
Okay. Did I
Pretty
miss?
boring.
lowest on my list because I'm not 100% sure about it, but I would love it. It's not a need. It's a want, a real want. Amanda Nunes versus the winner of Pena versus Kayla Harrison.
I'm with
that
you.
would really,
That's a great one.
That would really make the year
That
feel
could happen.
special.
That
I
could
think it's totally in play. It's just like if Amanda goes, I really am done, I'm okay with that. You know, I'm not gonna gripe too much.
You know what I think makes this particular topic tough? It's because as we discussed recently, when you look at the rankings, there's like kind of like a set number 1 contender, and we all presume these fights are going to get made.
That's right, yeah.
And so there's no like pie in the sky type fight out there other than Jones versus Aspinall that we're all like, we must have this. This must happen. And so let's see.
What's so great about this sport is that you get to look back a year from now and see all these predictions and just see how abhorrently wrong you were. Like you just were so wrong about things just because it's such like an unguessable game that we're watching.
So last year, I remember around this time when PT and I and Chuck were doing our Ringer preview show, I remember saying that my story to watch was Saudi Arabia's influence on the world of combat sports.
Yeah.
And obviously, it's heavier towards boxing, but we have seen multiple events, and we already know about that February 1st card, and who knows what else is to come. We haven't seen the mega event just far in MMA, but I think it's been, pretty safe to assume that their influence specifically in boxing and in combat sports has been quite significant. And so let's turn our attention to, stories to monitor for this upcoming year, 2025, because I think there are a litany of them. And I'll kick this off because I referenced it at the very top. For me, there's no greater story, there's no more interesting story than the UFC's upcoming rights deal, their TV rights deal, to be specific, here in the United States, because this is going to generate billions of dollars for the UFC. And there is a strong case to be made that of the major sporting organizations out there here in North America, it's the last big rights deal left. Remember, WWE, their sister company under the TKO umbrella, they recently signed that massive deal with Netflix, NBC Universal for SmackDown, and CW for NXT. Billions of dollars worth. And they do have a significant deal coming up in 2026 for their pay-per-view rights here in America. It's on Peacock. We'll see if it goes to Netflix, like it has gone to the rest of the world starting in January. But as far as like the NFL, the NBA, the NHL, Major League Baseball, they're not up for quite some time. And so the UFC's TV deal is the last big one left for a little bit of time. And what a fascinating world we live in with the streaming rights and, you know, with the rise of everything online and with these OTT platforms and still, you know, linear TV and with sports still being appointment television, almost like the last appointment TV thing left, and with the UFC being so hot as well. So I think that they're going to make billions off of this. I think that they are not going to share a percentage with the fighters, and I think it's going to be fascinating to see how they divvy it up. If I can look into my crystal ball, I think they remain with ESPN. I think that their pay-per-views stay with ESPN Plus, so they stay exclusively with ESPN Plus, and I think the pie then gets divvied. Let's say they stay with 43 fights, and I don't think that's a guarantee. I think maybe they can offer up more. And everyone wants to be in business with the UFC and don't really care about the quality of the cards. I could see a world where it's the 13 pay-per-views are ESPN, and then maybe it's like, you know, 15 to an Amazon and 15 to an ESPN, or 15 to an Amazon and 15 to a WBD, God knows who, 15 to a Netflix, 10 to a who knows, and then the pay-per-views on ESPN. And historically, the UFC hasn't done this. When they were on Spike, they were just on Spike. And there was that period that WEC was on Versus as well, and then the WEC deal ended on Versus, and we had a couple of those UFC on Versus shows. You'll remember Brandon Vera versus John Jones versus Vladimir Matyushenko, Demetrius Johnson versus Dominic Cruz, but those were just a few left, and that was just to end the deal. And then, of course, the Fox deal, they were exclusive. The ESPN deal, they were exclusive here in the United States. Historically, they haven't divvied the pie, but if you look at the NBA and what they just did with Amazon and with NBC and with ESPN, and you look at what the NFL has done with Fox, with CBS, with Amazon, with Netflix, that's the wave of the future, and I think the UFC is going to get on that train as well. And look at what WWE just did with Netflix and NBC Universal and, of course, CW as well. So that, to me, is the massive story. I can't wait to see how it all unfolds. And, you know, do the fighters smarten up and say, wait a second, you guys are going to sign for billions of dollars and we're going to get 0%, as opposed to the NBA players who get 50%. Just for an example, NBA 50% of the TV revenue. Do they smarten up and ask for 5%, 6%, 10%? My guess is no, but, you know, it would be wise to do that if you ask me. And so that's the one that I can't wait to see how it all unfolds. What do you say, GC? What do you say? What are you looking forward to?
God, I mean, that is a fantastic shout. I didn't even think of it when I was doing this. That's obviously a monster storyline, and I would go as far to say that you definitely eclipsed me in
it's not a competition.
In my choosing. Hey, listen, I'm just saying, I'm giving you, you know, credit where credit's due. That's a great shot. I wasn't even thinking of that. I mean, what I initially wrote down, because this was the first category, was, does John Jones fight Tom Aspinall? I think that's one that everyone's going to be monitoring. We obviously just went over it in fights that we want to see. But something that Dana White recently alluded to in where the fights will take place was, does the UFC do a show in a new country, Spain, South Africa, any of these where they have these champions in countries that they've never been to? So I'm curious as to whether or not we'll see the promotion go to a new land for a live show.
Any countries come to mind that they haven't been to?
I really want to see Spain. If DDP remains champion, going to South Africa. Then Dana White alluded to, you know, he wants to make the sport more global. I don't know if they have enough fighters on the roster, obviously very limited, and a show in India he's alluded to. Yeah. So yeah, that's just something that I want to monitor and see if they continue to grow the game.
I love that. Rick.
My number one was the same as yours. I think it's the topic of the year.
Man, I just wasn't even thinking when I was going through these. Y'all nailed it.
Look, there's going to be a lot of these. It's a business. Yeah, it's a business angle more than the fight angle. My number two is more on the fight side, kind of the business side. Will the UFC actually have competition? Will the UFC
Spoiler.
have yes, please.
No.
I'm not necessarily looking for somebody to be the UFC's rival. That is going to take a long time. That is just not going to happen in 2025. But can we see the foundation of it, right? We are now looking at the end of 2024, and there's been, quite frankly, like a little bit of a rough patch on the PFL Bellator side, right? We have now seen some fighters complaining about not getting enough fights. We then saw a tweet from Don Davis saying, we're actually next year going to do our most fights ever. Show me something. That is what I'm looking for in 2025. I need these promotions to show me something that makes me believe that there will be a viable competitor for the UFC. We saw the announcement on our show, on the Ariel Helwani Show, of the GFL and the ambitious moves that they are making. I need to see something that is going to make me believe that there is going to be competition for the UFC. If for no other reason than the fighters, the athletes having multiple opportunities elsewhere, if the UFC is not the right home for them. And we're seeing some fighters like Paul Hughes, right, who is being treated super well by the PFL, got in there and is thriving. I want to see if there can be a landing spot that is not the UFC that could be suitable for some of these athletes. So can the UFC have competition? I'm not expecting that somebody will be their direct rival overnight. It is not going to happen that fast. But let's lay the groundwork. Let's see if there can be a rival promotion.
Oh my gosh. It would be what's best for business and healthiest and what's best for the fighters as well to have an outlet to go elsewhere or to have a path if you're not welcome in the UFC. I mean, the best example is Muhammad Mokaev, right? They say thanks but no thanks, and he has to just go to Brave. He didn't want to go to Brave, but there was just no place for him. And a place where you can negotiate to have options. It's great. We were just free agents, right? And we had options, and everyone deserves that, and everyone should want that. And so it's not like we're trying to, I think, advocate for someone to take down the UFC, but it's just, it would be nice if there were people that were out there that appeared to be competent about how to promote fights and put on the best fights possible and events possible to at least give us, a B side to their A side, and look no further than pro wrestling, where we saw that over the last couple of years with AEW. What do you say, PT?
Oh yeah, the broadcast deal number 2. What becomes of Conor McGregor? 3. PFL's Bellator's disgruntled fighters 4, and then the Johnson class action suit, which could still have massive changeable impact on UFC contracts and things like that. It doesn't look 100% that will happen. Lots of stuff has to go down for that to be possible. There's all kind of loopholes involved. I think that's big. But I'm with GC. The Jones-Aspinall saga. And the reason why I picked this is because it will be talked about more than anything all year, I believe. You only have to look back to Ngannou v. Jones and that saga. And I called it a saga because that's what it was. It was, first of all, Jones won't fight. Then it was Francis won't fight. Then we had this whole free agency situation where Francis was had to go in and go against the promotion as well as Cyril Gane. I think it's going to be a long, drawn-out thing. I hope it isn't, but based on what happened with Ngannou and Jones and the same kind of things being said by Jones around that time, I think we got to strap ourselves in for a long one here, boys.
Yeah, I agree. I'm curious about Francis Ngannou's future as well. One fight left on his PFL deal. Does he box? Does he come back? Who are they going to get for him to fight? And, more to that point, you mentioned PFL and Bellator. How does this all shake out? Do they absorb Bellator? Is Bellator no more by the end of the year? Where are the Bellator fights airing in 2025, specifically here in the United States? Where's PFL going to air after 2025 as well? Their deal is coming up too. There's a lot of questions to be asked and answered for the future of that company and where they go, what their direction will be. Of course, I do think an interesting story will be GFL too. Do they get off the ground? Are their plans as ambitious as they are their plans going to come to fruition, or are they going to fizzle? There's a lot there. And you did mention Conor McGregor, that always is a story. Does he fight in 2025? What becomes of him? Does he fight in the UFC? How does that relationship evolve? Because right now it doesn't seem to be in the best spot, just based off of some of Dana White's recent comments. And obviously Jones Aspinall, I couldn't agree with you more. That is going to be a saga. Now, I think beginning of the year, it won't be talked about as much, but as we get into March, April, May, people are going to be like, okay, so what the hell's going on here? And in particular, I think once that UFC London card, goes down on March 22nd, because there's going to be a spotlight on the sport in the UK, and a lot of questions will be asked, in my opinion.
I think it's a great shout, and I think you're right. Like, that story will kind of amplify as the year goes on. I think there's a real chance for the contract part of it, the TV deal, which, as I said, was my number one as well, to either be massive, right? If it's a change in direction, if they take the whole package and send it to Netflix, if they split it up and they're in 3 different broadcast partners and we're talking US based, I think that could have massive impact and a lot of implications. Now you're telling your MMA fans who have been so used to getting it in their one place to now split the package up. Or it could be completely boring and they could re-sign with ESPN and the train keeps rolling and there's really not a lot of drama to it. So it has the potential to be an insanely big story, or it could potentially be pretty boring and just more of the same. But no matter where they land, the amount of money that is going to be paid for the UFC is going to be astronomical, and there is going to be a real impact to the live sports industry.
Yeah, and speaking of that class action lawsuit that PT referenced, we still have to see how the other one,
That's right.
comes to, like the judge still has to say, okay, I'm good with this arrangement and with this agreement that they came to not allow it to go to trial. So yeah, a lot of businessy stuff. I love that type of stuff. I love the business side of the fight game. So let's see how all of that pans out, and we shall be covering it all on our full slate of shows, which you can catch every Monday through Friday here on the Uncrowned Network. Okay, let's talk about breakout fighters, guys. At the end of 2025, we do the picks, right? And we'll do our picks at the beginning of January. We have a category called Breakout Fighter of the Year. Who is going to be the Breakout Fighter of the Year, Petesy, for 2025?
I've got Peyton Talbot. He's starting in January against Rayani Barcelos. He is ranked on Tapology. He's ranked 33. I think he can jump up very, very quickly. And I think he's going to be one of the main talking points coming out of that January card anyway. Despite it being stacked, this guy is special. You said it the first time you talked to him, Ariel. You put us through to his YouTube channel. He's got a different vibe to him. I'm going with him. I think he's going to be absolutely brilliant. He looks like a superstar, already made for the UFC, and I'm expecting big things for him in 2025.
I'll just piggyback very quickly. That's my pick as well. Blown away by him. Not just his aura and his personality and his YouTube channel, but he's a tremendously talented fighter. He's fighting at the beginning of the year. That's very notable as well, because that means you'll probably get at the very least 3 fights. He seems to have the entire package. And they're moving him up appropriately. They're not pushing him too quickly, I think. I'm worried about the haircut. I'm not going to lie. Sometimes when you mess with that sort of thing, the hair is gone. And does that take away from some of the aura? Anyone familiar with Mac Hollins, the Buffalo Bills wide receiver? He's got a very Mac Hollins vibe. Mac Hollins doesn't wear shoes. He walks outside in Buffalo barefoot.
Himself, yeah.
He's a character, just like Peyton Talbot. Peyton Talbot is my pick for Breakout Fighter of the Year come the end of 2025. What about you, Rick?
So I just want to get out there before I answer this.
Mm-hmm.
Instructions unclear, right?
What's unclear? What's unclear?
In the email it said,
wow.
Breakout fighters.
Okay.
Didn't even let him explain.
Wow.
Friends,
Is this wow?
Friends, not
No.
prospects.
That was 2020, mate.
Yeah, is that 20? Could we get his 2025? This is 2020.
No. It said breakout fighters, not bracket friends, not prospects, right?
I did see that as well.
So my thought was, clearly, we're looking for who's going to go the furthest distance, right? Who's going to start in one point and then go further, right? And so who's going to break from this level to this level?
I mean, he's about to fight for the belt.
And,
How could he
and
be
so
a
so no, well, you see,
he's already broken out.
It was the not prospects part, the not prospects.
The prospects means someone outside the UFC, I guess. No.
No, well, as I said, instructions unclear, right? Peyton Talbot clearly a prospect, so not really following
really?
the instructions there.
Sounds a little insulting towards Peyton.
I'd be very offended if I
Yeah.
was Peyton Talbot.
That he's a prospect?
Yeah,
I'd be
What would you
disgusted.
consider
he's
him?
well on his way. He's a UFC
rising star.
veteran. He's a
rising
UFC
star.
veteran.
See this now I'm
Rising
being
star.
gaslit again, just like last time. All right, so my list is a little bit different.
Wow. Okay.
But we're gonna go with no. Wait a
Wow.
minute, Jordan.
On air, Jordan says everyone else understood the ass.
Time. Yeah, because they can't read clearly, like the not prospects part in the little. In the little
GC is in
bracket.
a book club. He can read. He can read very well.
I asked Jordan for 3 straight days. Hey, did I miss the mark on the prospects on the breakout fighter thing? I want to just the prospects thing threw me off. I just want to make sure I'm on the right tone. I've asked Jordan for 3 days now. 3 days
Well,
I've checked in on this.
He's been waiting for this.
He's been waiting for this opportunity to throw me under the bus. I don't care. I'm
it's Hamza,
going to
the
stay
number one
Hamza.
contender. The
You know what?
yeah,
He's the number 1 contender now. You know what he's going to be in
Champion,
2025?
and that's gonna be his
the
breakout.
champion of the UFC, and not only that, a future legend of this sport. This man, I am so sure that
So he's your
Hamza
fighter
is
of the
going to
year
be.
also.
He's your
As
fighter
well
of
as
the
your
year.
breakthrough fighter.
Oh, he's the breakout and fighter of the year.
No. Fighter of the year is somebody else. We'll talk
Okay.
about
Wow.
that later.
How could that even be after this?
Well, I don't think he's going to fight that
Endorsement.
much. I don't think he's going to fight that much.
All right. But he'll still be the breakout fighter.
Hamza, breakout.
Hamza, my next fight, assuming for the title, 9 million followers on Instagram.
Yeah.
He's going to go to 20.
Massive global superstar.
Sure. Oh, it's going to be a big year for him.
It's
I
gonna be
actually
huge.
will defend
I
Rick.
haven't heard of this guy before.
The
Rick brought
not
him up.
prospects thing did also throw me off. I had a decent amount of
Oh
ranked
yeah, you
guys.
picked Peyton Talbot. What?
Veteran.
I did not choose Peyton
prospects.
Talbot.
Not prospects.
I did not choose Peyton Talbot, but I did stay in 135. I'm not going with Peyton Talbot. I'm going with Vinicius Lockdog Oliveira, 2-0 in 2024. The amazing flying knee back in March against Sopad, and then a massive win against Ricky Simone as a huge underdog, plus 210. Back in June, and now he also fights earlier in the year in Saudi Arabia against Saeed Nurmagomedov. We could see him ranked. If he continues to put on highlight reels like that, I could see him being a breakout fighter.
I like that one. That,
2025.
that to me is quintessential breakout fighter of the year nominee. Because I'm thinking about breakout fighter for 2024. It's like a Carlos Paredes type, maybe even a Joaquin Buckley, if you will. I wouldn't necessarily put like Arman Sarukian, who's about to fight for the belt in that spot.
Rob Davalishvili.
Champion. Different strokes, different folks.
Okay, so again, the measurement here is starting here in the end of 2024 and where they'll be. As an example, right? Jorge Masvidal, veteran, right? Would he not have been the breakout fighter of 2019? Would you argue against that? Would you have said
He's breaking out of title contention.
Yeah.
what?
2 championships.
Jorge Masvidal was not a breakout fighter in 2019.
I do
He
have
was
the-
most improved. He was
not
fighter
a breakout
of the year.
fighter in
He was
2019.
fighter of the year. No, he wasn't. He was a 17-year veteran. He was
I do
17
have the notes right here. It does say breakout fighters.
Yeah, when I say
Not
Not
prospect.
yeah, because people like to do this rookie of the year thing, which I think is nonsense.
Yeah, you
Like-
could have just said that, you know? I mean,
I thought it
it's a
was
little instructions.
I mean,
unclear.
clearly 3/4 understood. Jordan,
I'm just thinking at a different level.
Well played.
I'm just going to say
Yeah,
that.
different planes. Yeah.
135 deep, man. It's deep.
Yeah.
I'm
I also
operating on a
had,
different plane, you know?
another name, by the way, that I wanted to highlight was Ayman Zahabi, and not because we look alike, but he had a great 2024. He had a great 2023. I think he's really coming into his own. I thought he looked great in his last fight. He's climbing the ladder slowly but surely. For the longest time, he was just known as Faraz Zahabi's kid brother, and now I think he's turning into a force. And it's been a long time since we've had a force come out of TriStar in Montreal, and so that's a name that's on my mind. And one more, if I may, Lerone Murphy. What about the Miracle?
great.
I had Lerone Murphy as well. That's a good shout.
I like Lerone Murphy a lot. I presume he'll be fighting in the first quarter. What's so funny? Why are you laughing?
I said I got to admit I'm still confused. What makes Lerone
End of
what
the year.
is the similarity between Lerone and Peyton Talbot? Lerone is a
So I think-
top-ranked
Breakout.
I think
guy.
Gonna be
what
fighting
breakout
for the
is,
break, but
I
he
think
could
it is,
really
like,
break out.
What is the break? Where do we...
top of
break is
the-
like break. You become like a part of the general conversation. In
Oh,
MMA.
so that's
Like,
what's going to
people-
happen for Hamzat in 2025. So I got it
It's
right.
already
then.
a part of
All right,
got
so
it.
so
No,
I'm
but it's
actually
part of
I actually am gonna be transparent and I'm gonna own up to something here. I'm looking at my list. I actually ricked it.
Yeah.
On my list, Tatiana Suarez,
Yeah.
who is
Yeah.
fighting
Tatiana
for
Suarez
the
is on my
title
list as well. She's second
in
on my list.
February. I rigged it. I definitely rigged it.
Okay.
But she was not my number one.
Okay, so we're on the same page, and these guys over here.
I also rigged it X2, another one that I had on there, and just follow along with me. Kaya Sakura. I'm going to say he's going to fight throughout 2025, but we're going to see just how exciting he is. He's going to get wins. Everyone's going to appreciate his cool style, and he's going to become a fan favorite.
You know what it is?
Way more acceptable than Hamza.
It's the ringer. It's the ringer guys. They have some reps doing this. PT understands the language of quote not prospects. Me on the other hand, I'm like, oh, Peyton Talbot, young man in the game, barely any UFC fights, clearly a prospect. That would make a lot of sense for us to not pick him. So not on the same page.
I'm giving myself the Barry H. Before the fight was even announced, I had Nasruddin Imavov on there. Now he's fighting Israel Adesanya.
Okay, so how? I'm done.
He would be
I have Michael Morales.
Michael Morales, good shout.
Natalia Silva. I have Joshua Van.
Nice. Shout out.
Joshua Van's very good.
Yeah. Marcus McGee is another one I have. Speaking of Joshua.
How about,
nice, yeah,
okay,
like
does this count? Does Dakota count, or is she already broken out? I'm still unclear. I don't understand the exercise.
And what are we breaking through? Like
so everybody else is unclear too. Okay, good. I'm just
from being unknown.
By the way, Rick, we've done award shows for like 11 years now. We've never gotten hung up on Breakout Fighter of the Year. Why are we so hung up on the term?
I think we're reviewing
the brackets. The brackets. They're blaming Jordan.
This was this is the look ahead. Rather than looking back.
We're not picking
Tatiana Suarez. If Tatiana Suarez becomes UFC champion, and let's say she defends her title once. I know that's a big ask. She doesn't seem to fight all that often. She's not the breakout fighter of the year. She's the female fighter of the year.
She could be.
Why not both?
I mean, it's very rare that the male or female fighter of the year is also the breakout. It happens. I
think Sean Strickland did it last year.
That's what I'm saying. It happens because it's like a meteoric rise, but how often does that happen?
Get ready for Hamza.
It's fine. Charles Johnson could be another one.
Yeah, Charles Johnson, 4-0. Great fighter.
But again,
Anthony Hernandez.
Can I say something about like a Charles Johnson? Charles Johnson is 4-0 as of late, but not really in the discussion, right? He's not really in that title picture. But maybe by the end of 2025, he is in that title picture. And
you're breaking into the discussion.
Yes. That to me is what Breakout Fighter
I've said that 4 times, lads.
Yeah,
PT did say that multiple times.
Yes, thank you.
I'm still a bit confused.
Look, the instructions, breaking into the discussion.
We're going to have a full paragraph.
This is the break-in fighter of the year.
Paragraph.
Breaking out of the pack. Breaking out of the pack and into this like higher echelon category. Okay.
We won't mess that one up.
Oh, Frankie.
Frankie, do you have who's yours? John Jones? Go ahead.
For GC.
John Jones beats Tom Aspinall.
Is that a actual necklace that you're wearing, or did you plug in some lights and like wrap a part of a loop around you? I've been wondering the whole time.
That's actually a great question.
Because of the lights behind you, like it really does look like you just plugged it into the wall and like wrapped it around your neck.
Did the lights just go out as soon as you said that?
Well, all right.
No, they're on, man.
They seem like they're on.
The mystery has been solved now, so all right.
No, you actually make a great point. It could be both, but I purchased it as a necklace.
Right,
I purchased it as a necklace.
Been over here worried about you.
What's the sock called again? Stocking?
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you actually put gifts in there?
Yeah.
So what's the difference between the stocking gifts? Oh, there it is. Hey, thank you, Frank.
Hey, Rick, a little glitz and glitter there.
What's the difference between the stocking gifts and the under the tree gifts?
All right, so stocking
are little things.
Yep. Stocking's going to be like a chocolate orange and maybe like a $10 Starbucks gift card.
Maybe a puppy.
Well,
what? Some deodorant, perhaps.
Like chapstick.
Maybe.
Something small. The presents under the tree are going to be like actual real gifts.
And how many do you put in the stocking?
Fill it.
Sometimes you just fill it up. Stocking stuffers.
Got it. So you just like throw all kinds of stuff in there.
Just a bunch of bullshit in there that'll probably just get thrown.
But it's great. It's great, man. When you're a kid and you feel that the old stocking's full of shit, like you are pumped.
Do you do the stocking before the under the tree gifts, Pizza?
Yeah, well, Santa used to leave one on the door, the bedroom door.
Oh,
so you just nip around and you'd be like, oh shit. He's in here.
God, that gets my juices flowing. There's nothing like
Could I ask
stockings first. And then you go under the tree.
Did you guys
living
actually
in a mansion? He probably was afraid to go in, right?
Yeah.
What's that?
He didn't live in a mansion his whole life.
Oh,
he's a rags.
He built this brick by brick.
He built.
Santa's like, oh, this is a little too high class for me. I'm gonna leave the gifts outside.
Did you guys actually
the mean streets to get to Blanche? This is how it happened.
Did you guys actually experience the like wake up in the morning, come down, and the tree is
yeah.
the you experience that thing that you see in the movies.
Over and over and
that's
over. It was
amazing.
I'm gonna do it again
amazing.
this year.
I'm so jealous.
When they
I
say
used to
Christmas
spit
magic,
carrot all over the garden, like to say Rudolph was here.
oh, I
Feed him a
love
carrot.
it.
Like,
God, I love
Santa
it. You
was
put the
feeding him a
cookies
carrot.
out.
Yeah.
Glass of milk. I mean, when you say Christmas magic, it really was like there was like a feeling that I can never recapture of being a kid and
Oh.
celebrating Christmas.
Okay, really quickly.
Nothing like it.
Really quickly. What age did we stop believing in Santa Claus?
Oh, believing it was like 10, but like when did the Christmas magic leave? You still got excited for Christmas until probably like 14, 15.
But 10 is like,
Yeah.
there's no
16?
Santa. 10 is like, we're done.
I guess like maybe when you could
it's
like
funny, like you pretend that there's a time where you're just pretending that you
Yeah, you
don't
keep
know,
going
you
along
know?
with it
Yeah.
because you think maybe
Trying to
the
keep
kids will
the shit
stop
sweet.
if you admit it.
But the kid down the road told me when I was like 6, and I was like, "Is he serious to my brother?" And he was like, "No." And then my brother beat him up, and I was like, "Well, why are you beating him up then? If it wasn't,
If it wasn't
you know what I
true.
mean?" Yeah.
because you can't spread those blasphemous lies.
The
Yeah,
only thing that
right.
I can equate to all of this, which I love, and I'm jealous that I've never been able to experience it, is my 12-year-old just lost his last tooth, and he was like, "Hey, can you let the tooth fairy know that I'm putting the tooth under
it.
my pillow, and I would
Love that.
appreciate $$20." And he like
20?
looks at me. Yeah.
Right
Is that what
at-
teeth are going for these days?
And I was like, "Are we still doing this? Are we still doing this?" And I did not put any money. It just,
Wow.
Yeah. To be honest, it actually I actually feel bad. This conversation just reminded me, like, shit. I
Did you
not
leave
put-
the tooth as well?
It's
or-
I didn't put
because
anything.
nobody has.
He,
I
he
forgot.
woke up. He woke up and there was just a tooth still there.
Probably he didn't
Wow.
mention
Can
it
you
though.
Venmo him?
That
This
is-
month's
the tooth
rent
fairy
and-
Venmo.
He didn't even
$20?
mention it.
He didn't
was-
mention it. He might have
then
forgotten.
That's confirmation. He's heartbroken.
I'm sending an email to myself just with tooth and hoping that.
Send
and
one
then
to the
Send
tooth
him an
fairy, man.
email. Hey, about the tooth fairy mishap.
Wow.
You know they have like a reminders app on the phone. You don't have to email.
I don't do that. I don't know.
I don't know how to use that thing, man.
I don't know what to do.
To-do list. Like there's plenty of ways. Modern technology.
That scene
just
that
have
you guys
notes
were just
full of-
talking about reminds me of that commercial. What's the commercial, PT?
John Lewis.
John Lewis. Do you guys know about the John Lewis commercials?
I don't
No.
know what this is.
Oh my God, PT, tell them about the John Lewis commercials.
So
real
it's
quick.
like it's a supermarket in the UK, and they bring out an iconic Christmas ad every year. Elaine gets very excited for it every year. She's not too happy with the one this year, Ariel. I think we
Yeah,
told
the
you that.
sisters, yeah.
Yeah, but she loved the Man on the Moon one. She used to wait for this ad to come on, and then she'd be weeping watching the ad.
Explain what the ad is before
tell me
you
about-
talk about
why
the
is it so
reactions. to the
sensitive?
ad.
I have the one for this year up. It's 2 minutes long.
No, explain it.
Yeah,
explain
they're
it.
very
Explain
long.
it.
I can't really. I can't really do it.
I can explain
What
it.
is-
Inexplainable.
Why is it so emotional?
I'll
Because of the
explain.
Hold on.
the ritual of it?
It's about Christmas, you know, and then this old man's by himself, and you're like, oh, for fuck's sake, mate.
There's
I mean-
literally a Wikipedia page dedicated to the John Lewis Christmas
so good.
advert.
It's so good.
It's an ongoing television
summed it up well
advertising
there.
campaign released by British department store chain John Lewis and Partners in the build-up to Christmas. Wow.
GC, you have to watch the one. There's one that is of it's about Elton John, and it's a little kid. I'm getting chills just talking about it. And he comes down the stairs and he sees his present, and it's a piano. He rips it open and it's a piano. It's a little kid. He's like 5 years old, and then he starts playing. What's the song that he plays, PT? It's
Is it Tiny Dancer?
no, it's not Tiny Dancer. It's another classic Elton John, and then it goes through all the
Benny and the
years.
Jets.
No, not Benny and the Jets. And it goes, it's going to kill me. What's the song?
Rocket
Someone-
Man.
Rocket.
No, it's not Rocket Man. Elton John. I mean,
Piano Man.
no, it's not Elton John.
That's Billy Joel, mate.
Benny and-
No, you guys suck. What is the one? What is the one?
Your song.
This one.
You
Oh,
can't
that's
play
it.
this
I know, but I need you guys to.
Your song.
Your
a
song.
great
There it is.
Yeah, I'm
Thank
looking
you.
at it right now.
Thank you. And
The
it goes
2018 advert?
so good. It makes me cry every single time I watch it. And I love the fact that this is a thing that everyone. And then there's parodies of the commercials and whatnot, or there's parodies of the
Is there no
idea.
Christmas special there? Like in America?
We have
there's not
we have the Corona commercial where it's like it's just the house and then the palm
Yeah, I
tree
love
lights
that.
up,
I love that.
and the guy's whistling.
But that's like a 30-second. Yeah.
That's all you
Didn't
need.
But is
Budweiser,
there not a show?
Budweiser
Like, is there
used
no-
to do one every year with like the Clydesdales. There used to be
the M&M's one where they're like walking through and they're like Santa and like the one.
Oh, I remember
paints.
that.
That's another legendary one.
But there's no variety show you all watch around Christmas. Like the whole country's like, oh, it's on.
To be
It's like
clear,
we
these
have-
are the look-ahead ads that we're looking for.
Oh, yes.
It's really just It's a Wonderful Life on Christmas Eve on NBC. That's really like the one I feel tradition, but nothing like that. You know how it goes, guys. It's a little bit funny. This feeling.
No one's crying. You know what I mean?
I actually love
Moving
that. I do love that song.
I'm not one of
Great song.
those who can easily hide. I don't have much money, but boy, if I did, give it to me, Frank. I'd buy a big house where we both could live. And it's the kid through the years. It's fantastic. Anyway,
You know-
we couldn't agree on Breakout, guys, but hopefully we can agree on the description of this particular category. How many new UFC champions will there be at the end of 2025? So there are currently 11 weight classes which have champions at the top of them in the UFC. Some have an interim champion. How many by the end of 2025 will have a new champion in those weight classes? GC, what do you say as the prognosticator of the group?
My guess is 7.
7.
Yep.
And I'm not even asking which weight classes.
My guess is 7, and unfortunately, I thought I was being smart, but if I'm doing the math correctly, I actually think there were 7 new champions this year.
Well, let's go through the math. Pantoja retained, so not him. Merab, new champion. Ilya, new champion. Islam retained. Bilal, new champion. DDP retained, right?
DDP new champ.
Juan, January. Yes, you're right. 4. Alex Pereira, no, retained. John Jones, retained. Valentina, new champion. Zhang Wei Li, retained. And Juliana, new champion. So 6.
Raquel Pennington, new champion.
Oh, yeah, now yourself. Wait, but does that count? Because it's by the end of the year.
Yeah, I get. I mean,
You're talking about how
still
many
be a
times did it
champion.
change? Oh, now we've got another problem on our hands.
New
I'm
champion.
just talking about
Instructions unclear.
No. I don't think that counts.
No,
And you
I-
teed this up with.
I
I
don't
think,
thi-
I think we
it has
can
to
all
be
agree on this one.
By the end
End of year to
Yeah.
next
Okay,
year.
Yeah.
so how many of the 11 divisions will be? Then I'm gonna go. I'm gonna stick by my guns and say 7.
It's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
PT?
6 new champions: Merab, Bilal, DDP, Jones, Zhang, and Pena lose their titles.
Wow,
Yo,
exacto.
PT with the info.
Exactly.
Wait, can I digest that? Go a little slower?
Yeah, go slower on those names.
Merab, Bilal, DDP, Jones, Zhang, and Pena lose their titles.
Now, are you going to say
Wow.
who beats them, or you're just like they will lose?
Predictable.
Magomedov, Shavkat, Hamzat, Aspinall, Suarez.
Wow.
Caleb.
Wow, this is amazing insight. I mean, you've just gone right into the crystal ball.
Yeah,
and
we just ripped
took
it.
it into. Rick?
I've got 4.
Okay.
I'm not going to say which 4, but I've got 4.
Okay.
Got a set of balls.
Is that boring? Yeah, I'll say which 4. I think there will be a new welterweight champion. I think Shavkat's going to hold that title. I think there will be a new middleweight champion. I think it's obvious which one I think on that one after the start of the show. Heavyweight, there will be a new champion because I don't like at some point they're going to have to stop waiting. Either John's going to fight and it'll be Tom or John will relinquish. So we'll have a new heavyweight champion. And I think Tatiana is going to win at strawweight.
All right. I'm going to go with 5. I kind of went back and forth between
love it.
5 and 6.
4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah. I am not going to tell you who the new champions are going to be because,
I don't know who it's gonna be.
yeah.
Shit happens.
That's fucking bullshit.
I mean, it's just, I don't want to.
Yeah, no, don't put yourself in that
Too many
position.
people.
No, yeah.
But 5. And so I think, yeah. So none of us agreed, right?
Yeah, it's amazing.
No, 4, 5, 6.
Okay, now let's do
7.
new Bellator champions by the end of the year. No, I'm kidding.
All Hughes won.
Yeah.
Shout out to the boy.
New Road to Dubai Champion Series champions.
No, the Bellator strap isn't.
I know,
mine.
I'm just being silly. All right, let's talk about female fighter of the year. This time next year, well, it'd probably be like, it's kind of crazy. Like our next award show after this one will be January of 2026.
It's moving fast.
Life, man.
Oh, those fighting words.
Yeah.
This is an emotional show, huh?
Like-
We're just really like reflecting. We're doing
this is
Christmas
Christmas.
traditions. We're doing consumerism. With these commercials that you guys are bawling over. This is tough here.
I'm actually watching the John Lewis ad right now. It's
You
great.
got to listen to it because you'll really cry. Rick, who will be the female fighter of the year in 2025?
I've got Valentina Shevchenko
Wow.
because I think she's going to be active, and that is one of. I've learned having done these for so many years, the activity is the key. It's always the key. Now, certainly, you can get into these conversations with the strength of how good your wins are, but what's going to matter more is how many of those big time wins you can put together. And I think Valentina is going to be active. That is where I'm kind of leaning here. I think she'll retain her title, and so I think she'll be able to rack up a few title defenses and be the selection.
Don't hate it. I wonder. So Valentina, I mean, she could get 2 or 3 in there.
She'll get 2 or 3 in.
Yeah,
and that'll be enough.
Female fighter is a tough one. We're going to get into it for this past year, and I don't think it's an easy one because they typically, have the female champs fight once, twice max.
That's the thing. The activity is what limits.
But then you have those odd cases where someone, you remember, like I think it was last year, Lupe Godinez fought 4 times, and so it's like, is the 4-0 better than the 2 title defenses or the 1 title win, the title defense? It's a tough one, but obviously hard to argue against Valentina Shevchenko. GC?
All right. As much as it pains me to do it.
Uh-oh. I know what you're going to say. This is.
Oh,
by the way,
no.
take a deep breath. Just take a deep breath for a moment here. Take a deep breath. I know exactly what you're going to say.
Everybody knows.
Remember, is the juice worth the squeeze?
I think it is in this case.
Wow.
Zhang Weili
Wow.
wins at 115 against Tatiana Suarez. 125, Valentina Shevchenko defends against Manon Fiorot. Zhang Weili goes up to 125 and goes for double champ status and wins there and ends the year with 2 belts.
Okay, so
Female fighter of the year.
I like this for 2 reasons. Number one,
Because you thought I was going to betray my girl. You thought I was going to betray Juliana Pena because none of y'all believe in her ability to retain the strap against Kayla Harrison. That's why you guys assumed
did you throw the curveball our way? Did you do that on purpose?
I saw Jordan
This is
teeing up a
detrimental.
graphic that said Kayla Harrison. I was like, what is this, man?
Listen.
Just let the record show I said which titles are going to change hands, and I did not include women's bantamweight. So, Juliana, we love you.
Okay, well, here's the thing. Here's the interesting thing about it. I believe it was Rick who said Tatiana Suarez or was it, who said Tatiana Suarez breakout fighter?
GC
I said Tatiana Suarez.
Wait, GC, how could Tatiana Suarez be breakout fighter if Zhang beats her?
There could potentially be.
Feels like you're hedging here.
Who's down my list?
Just ask me, I'll do it.
All right.
Just ask me, I'll do it.
PT, go ahead.
Kayla Harrison.
Yeah.
Kayla Harrison is the female
Ooh,
fighter.
level of
Ooh,
disrespect.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. I don't care. I don't care. Come on. Give a f-
No,
You know what? I like
Kayla
being
too.
right.
Yeah, we do.
I
We
like
love
being
Kayla
right.
too.
I like being right. I'm sorry.
Is that actually, if that gets made, Juliana Pena versus Kayla Harrison, is that actually a 2-belt fight? Not only will we be fighting for UFC gold, but they will also be fighting for the 4th spot in the Parlay Pals.
Wow, that's big.
I don't know if we.
I don't know if by the
You
way,
want
There's a lot of
steaks?
pressure to put on someone.
You like steaks?
medium well.
Okay, I will ask a similar
Oh, yeah.
question though. Is that like your front runner though for female fighter of the year? It feels like that will be the most significant, right? We had it on our fights that we're anticipating list, the fights that we're most looking forward to, the fight that you'll need. It feels like the winner of that fight is going to have the driver's seat, right? Like that is the most significant fight we're going to get in female MMA, unless Amanda Nunes comes back on the back end of that. Now the winner facing them, but whoever wins that fight could conceivably then face Amanda Nunes. If you get those two wins, that's I mean, it's done. It's done. It's done.
Juliana would be incredible in that spot. If she beat Kayla, she would be brilliant. Like
How
she would
good would
use
Kayla?
that platform so well.
Kayla drumming up the Amanda Nunes was my training partner. Then she left the sport. I thought I was never going to
Listen,
this
some of
fight.
us picked her as fighter of the year, mate. We don't need to do that. But
it's amazing how like uninteresting 135 is, except for this thing at the top.
A
two.
Little
1,000%.
tournament.
There is nothing beyond this.
Is so good, and it's maybe the juiciest storyline of all the women's weight classes. These are all great picks, and I'm going to abstain from the drama. I want nothing to do with it. And for me, it comes down to this: I'm loyal, and I'm a loyal guy. I'm an in the trenches guy, and so I cannot make a pick.
couldn't be bothered.
Yeah, I couldn't be bothered. So
Wow, you abstained from the whole category, huh?
no, of course not. We have to go with the two-time Olympic gold medalist, who is going to, at the end of the year, it's because of the Amanda Nunes situation. I think she beats Amanda Nunes. I don't know what happens in that other fight, but Kayla Harrison will be the female fighter.
Whoever wins that fight has to get on the mic and pull the Michael Chandler.
Oh, no worries to either.
Amanda Nunes! You got to come back and fight somebody.
Wait, whoever wins or loses?
Whoever wins.
Win.
Oh, well,
This is so. I'm
by the
so
way-
confused about this conversation. You are so like just. You're melting me head here, lads. What are we saying? Are we saying
I picked Valentina. What's confusing?
What's what's,
I picked Zhang Wei Li.
yeah, what's confusing?
you going? She's gonna fight Amanda Nunes at the start of the show. You were like, "How can you say Hamza? He doesn't have an opponent." Now you're saying when she beats this person who's retired at the end of the year, she will be fired of the year. What are you talking about?
What?
You know what, PT? I mean, they say some things about you, but you're a smart man.
By the way,
You're picking up what I'm putting
By
down.
the way, the one has nothing to do with the other.
It does.
You asked me what's the fight I want to see, and you guys said Hamzat versus a fictitious character.
And then you said
You just
Dustin
made up
Poirier
a-
versus
no, no, no,
Amanda
no, no,
Nunes,
no, no,
who's
no,
You just
retired
made up
fighter.
a fight.
I
A
just threw
retired
that in
fighter.
there as an honorable mention. I didn't tell them to make a graphic. I just said I would like to see this scenario play out. Okay, sorry, I could have put it in the story I want to watch. It's like 1 + 1 does not equal 2. Now, as far as Kayla versus Amanda, some things need to happen, but I'm saying after it happens, she will be the female
So,
fighter of the year. What's confusing about it?
Let's go around. Do we think Amanda versus the winner of Pena and Harrison is going to happen?
Yes.
Do we believe that Amanda's
Yes.
coming out?
Are you
Next
more
year.
I do
confident?
too.
Are
I
you
do
more
too.
Next year.
confident in
You
the
think
winner?
2026, PT?
I think it could be. Yeah, absolutely.
More confident in the winner of Kayla Harrison, Juliana Pena fighting Amanda Nunes getting made, or Tom Aspinall versus
Oh,
John Jones?
definitely more of that.
Former. The
Amanda
former.
Nunes.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's no real
Wow.
economics attached to that.
John Jones
no-
has.
I guess
Time
it's just
on
a
it.
retired fighter coming back though.
John Jones
Like,
has. Is John Jones is basically a retired fighter. John Jones spent the entire last little stretch being like, I'm not fighting unless they really make it worth my while. Meanwhile, Amanda Nunes is, as soon as they're on the screen, she's posting Instagram videos. Can't wait to get back in there. So I'm super confident. I don't know if it'll be 2025 though. To Petes's point, maybe it's 2026, but I think she will fight them next.
Yeah, I think if either win, she'd be like, "Oh yeah, you just got the belt. I'm doing a lot more than that. Like you're gonna have to do a lot more than that to get me out of retirement." And that would be fair to be honest.
Yeah, I think it will be easier to make either of those fights.
Yeah.
It might be harder to make the Kayla fight because maybe she's been in there with her and she doesn't have the same type of confidence because she already beat Juliana Pena. By the way, throwing out a pie in the sky fight that I wish I mentioned earlier, Dakota Dacheva against Valentina Shevchenko, never going to happen.
No,
But-
not going to happen, but would be magnificent.
Oh,
I'm in.
Yeah,
I'm all
that would be incredible, and I mean, Dakota's been
But-
incredible.
Truly though,
Vero and
I feel-
Shevchenko's a great fight though. So.
It is.
Oh, fantastic fight.
I'm not confident that they will fight enough. This is the problem with where are the we just need to up the number of women's titles fights at this point. Like, can the champion compete? Like, it'd be great. I'd like to see more.
I agree. More than one defense.
More than one defense a
Right.
year, please, from the women's champions. I would love this.
All right, let's talk about male fighter of the year. Male fighter of the year. This time next year, who is the consensus male fighter of the year? Pizza, you go first.
So, I have an asterisk here because I think it'd be Tom Aspinall if he beats John Jones because it's a huge fight. But Shavkat Rakhmonov is my safe pick here.
Wow.
That's who I'm going for.
So what's the roadmap here? You think he fights Bilal, obviously beats him, and gets one more in there?
Yeah,
Because let's be honest. By the time they fight, it's
Yeah.
probably May, June. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think he takes out Shavkat and then
No,
possibly.
he takes out Bilal.
Sorry, he takes out Bilal and then he'll take out possibly the winner of whoever Leon fights. I think that would be a good one. I think that's likely. And honestly, there's so many good opponents at welterweight that I feel like it'll be statements. If he does record 2 wins, they'll be big wins. They'll be making statements with the wins. And I also think because of the way the fight went with Ian, it wasn't the most exciting fight. It was a very close fight. I think if he comes back and he performs like the Shavkat of old, it will be a massive exclamation mark for the fan base.
That's a good shout. That's a great shout. What do you think, GC?
All right. July, International Fight Week. Dana White said 100%.
Yeah.
100% this fight gets made. I've never known that man to lie. I've never known him to say one single thing that isn't the truth and nothing but the truth. That fight gets made. International Fight Week. Tom Aspinall, John Jones. Tom Aspinall becomes the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. And then, like I said, Madison Square Garden, Alex Pereira comes up to heavyweight. Tom Aspinall takes care of business there, retains the belt 2-0 over 2 of the biggest stars in the sport. Fighter of the year, Tom Aspinall.
I love it. That's a great one. Would love to see all that come to fruition. And honestly, you can make a case if he just fights once in 2025 and it's a win over John Jones, that could be enough for Fighter of the Year, right? If he's the first guy to actually beat John Jones, and like let's say he does it in like super impressive fashion, he knocks him out or something crazy, he submits him. How is he not the Fighter of the Year? 1-0, right?
I think it is entirely possible. You have to think of it as like, I think of it as like a point system. A win over John Jones is worth X number of points. A win over random contender is worth X number of points. You add up the points. One win over John Jones could be equal to 3 wins over these other guys. Like you just have to do that. I think it's very possible. It is extremely possible.
Rick, your pick.
I'm gonna go with Alex Pereira. For the last umpteen years, 10 going on years, I always pick John Jones for this because I'm deluded and crazy and sick in the head and think that John Jones is going to come back and fight. I pick John Jones every single year. Also every single year, I pick Alex Pereira as my Fighter of the Year when we do the look back, and I'm just gonna break that cycle. We're just gonna start it now. It's gonna be Alex Pereira because it's always Alex Pereira because he's the only one that every time the UFC calls, he answers the call and fights enough to do it. There's a scenario here where Alex Pereira gets past Magomed Ankalaev, and then he does potentially have a matchup maybe at the end of the year, and maybe that's against one of these gentlemen that GC's been talking about. And you know what? I kind of like Alex Pereira's chances against both of those gentlemen. So I'm just going to ride the Alex train. I feel like if he gets 3 fights in, he's going to be in the driver's seat. If he gets one of those massive heavyweight fights, he's going to be in the driver's seat. Now, he has some business to do with Magomed Ankalaev, but if he can clear that next fight, I think, is going to be massive. And you know that he'll show up. And that is it. Like, I'm banking on reliability this year. Valentina Shevchenko, she will show up. She will pick up wins. Alex Pereira will show up and will pick up wins. I'm banking on Alex.
What's interesting about that is arguably his toughest test is his next fight.
This is the hard one.
Right? So, yes, if he does get by Magomed, maybe not the biggest name, the sexiest name, but if he gets by him, all right, there are some potentially huge fights and some winnable fights. Not to say that the Ankalaev fight...
the next light heavyweight contender could be a favorable matchup for Alex. Yeah.
I will say 2 things about these sort of like boogeyman fights. I think everyone thought, Shavkat's just going to go in there and steamroll Bilal. He's the boogeyman. I think that sentiment has changed a little bit, and the same with Ankalaev. I think a lot of people thought, he's going to just steamroll Alex. At some point, the Alex train is going to end because he's just getting up there in age and he's been fighting for so long, but it's a great shot as well. I want to go with Tom Aspinall, and in fact, as you guys have been speaking, I keep thinking, like, should I just go with Tom? But there's a part of me that is worried that this doesn't come to fruition, that he's stuck in limbo and that he doesn't end up fighting and he's put in that Michael Chandler situation. I think Tom is not going to be the kind of guy to like sit around forever, but I still have my doubts. And so I'll go in a different direction, and I'll go with Merab Dvalishvili because he is fighting in January. I think a lot of people are forgetting just how good he is for some bizarre reason. He was so dominant against Sean O'Malley, and he's been so dominant for years now in the UFC. He's fighting in January, which means he could get 3 fights in there. And I think if he beats Umar on the 18th of January, a lot of people will be like, you know what, we should be giving this guy a lot more respect. Now, I will continue to say there's a part of me that is worried that he is fighting too many people out there, that he is historically, when we see people fight not only their opponent and the organization, they tend to falter. And so I don't wish that for him, and I'm worried about it for him. But I think he figures it out. There's a lot of smart people around him, and I think he could potentially have a very, very big year because if you look at the rest of the division, there's certainly some tough guys out there, but who has the skill set to beat him? There are guys who are just as good as him and who have tremendous skill sets. His next opponent, Umar, is a supremely tough out. But I don't know if there's any sort of boogeyman out there who everyone's saying, like, that guy, that is going to be the kryptonite, right? Which is what everyone said if and when Sean got to Merab, and look what happened. So if you tend to fight early in the year, you have a good chance to be Fighter of the Year. However, look at Alex Pereira. He fought in April, and a lot of people think he's the 2024 Fighter of the Year. And that's...
We all had different answers.
Yeah. And
I had some others that I was considering. Like, I think Umar... I don't think Umar because I think Merab is going to beat Umar. I think Islam. Islam's going to have a fight in January. Even if he gets only one more, you have to imagine it might be Armin, Charles, right? You're looking at some massive wins. Maybe if he gets even a third, you could really have like quite a year for Islam. The January is going to help him in the same way that your Marab pick. So I think there's a real chance for Islam and Ilya. Ilya beats Volk again, and then you get one more fight in, maybe two. Maybe it's at lightweight. He's been teasing that. Like there's a lot of potential for somebody to break out of this pack this year.
So those are all good shouts, and I'm, I was debating Armin because I picked him for 2024, and if he beats him and then gets another one in there, like
if he gets a rematch with Charles after beating Islam, that's two massive wins. Massive.
For me, it came down to Armin, Marab, or Aspinall.
Yeah. It'll be Alex, though.
This is my eggnog, by the
Alex.
way. I don't know if you guys...
Nice.
Yeah, you guys like a good eggnog.
I had Aspinall, but I think me and Ariel are very, very close to basically the same feeling on that fight with Jones.
Just
not
quite sure. Yeah.
Reluctant.
We all started so hopeful, and now by end of show, we're all like, is it going to happen?
It's going to happen.
You feel good.
He's pulling for
We need that. We need that energy in the room.
Come on. You put out you get what you put out.
It's 100%. It's 100%.
It's gonna happen.
Well, I think 2025 is going to be a great year. What are you guys going to do? Christmas Eve. What are the plans? What are we doing? Is there any ham involved? Is there roast beast
That's
involved?
usually on Christmas.
Oh, okay.
Christmas Day for me. But church and then National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
On the day?
On Christmas Eve.
Okay, and the day?
The day you wake up. My nieces and nephews now are very young, so you wait for them to wake up.
Where are we? Whose house? Like, what's going on?
Parents' house in Atlanta. Okay. Whole family is there. Like,
so your house has always been home based, or is this?
No, I used to go to Florida every year with my grandparents to my grandparents' house. Now it's my parents' house. They've taken over. There's like 12 people that come. A couple people have to stay at hotels.
Wow,
it's that packed out.
Burks fam.
Yeah, it rolls deep. Wake up, do the kids, like they get to open all their presents and everything, and then the Thanksgiving breakfast casserole I've mentioned so many times also gets served on Christmas.
Same one.
Same one. It's just so good. You only get it twice a year. It's unbelievable. And then you kind of just lounge the rest of the day. Maybe go see a movie if you're bored, if you want to get out of the house.
Yeah.
NBA, NFL, and you just enjoy the day, man. It's great.
Rick?
Plant the presents under the tree, and the kids are going to open them. That's the plan. Just it's all about them now at this point.
Yeah.
Like I don't care about. My wife and I don't really do much of that, and so it's all about servicing the kids. I'm running around planting this stupid elf around the house now. It's just it's all about them.
You guys do that? I see that on social media. Elf on the shelf.
My oldest daughter Avery, love you Avery, built a house for the elf with a letter in it, like begging the elf to come into the house because a schoolmate of hers had said that. And so we do that. We've also got, the menorah lit with the grandparents and things like that. So
Avery watches the show, eh?
Yeah, shout out to Avery. Yeah, she's watching right now.
Big fan.
Actually, she did watch the show, and the segment that we showed her was your breakdown of your pound for pound top predators because your animal list was top tier and your breakdowns.
That was a great one.
She's going to be a future zoologist, so we let her watch that.
PT, the tradition.
So the houses change. So this year we're doing the breakfast. So my niece and nephew will come over, and my mom and dad will come over. My brother and his wife will come over, and then we'll like make breakfast for everybody. Everyone will bring something. Like my mom's probably gonna make brown bread. We'll sort everything else out, and then the kids, we give all the two kids all their presents. Then we'll separate for a while. So mom and dad will go home. Luke and Sonia will go home, and then we'll go to my mom and dad's for Christmas dinner. And yeah, they just take it easy after that, I suppose. It's usually hectic. I used to get up on Christmas Day, go and see my goddaughter, one of my friend's daughters, and then I'd go and do the breakfast thing. Then I'd go and have dinner with my mom and dad's. Then I'd go to Elaine's house to her parents to say hello. It was a hectic day. So
sounds
we're
like
trying
a script
to
for a
tone
movie.
it down.
Yeah.
Or Christmases.
Yeah. And now you could sprinkle an NFL doubleheader.
Yeah. Netflix, shout out.
Netflix, me dad better have that fucking. He's using my Netflix code. It'll be fine.
Well, it sounds great, and I love the fact that you guys do the presents and all that. It sounds like an incredible time. For my people, instead of 1 day of presents, we get 8 crazy
You
nights.
deserve all 8.
Yeah, thank you, Frank. I appreciate that. That's very kind. What about
Is
you?
Hanukkah 8 nights? I did
It
not
is
know
8
that.
nights. Yeah, we get 8
know
crazy
that.
nights.
It's like
yeah.
the
Starts-
thing to know about Hanukkah, by the way.
When you feel like the only kid in
Nice.
town
Thank you.
without a Christmas tree, here's a
listen to
list
that-
of people who are Jewish.
I feel
Oh,
like
you
we
did.
got to do a
Yeah.
holiday
Listen
album with
the other
Helwani.
week.
You.
Did we talk about this last year? I feel like this was a thread. We got to do a Helwani holiday album.
David Lee Roth lights the menorah. Sing it, Frank. So do James Conn, Kirk Douglas, and the late Dinah Shora. And guess who
Dinah
eats
Shore?
together at the Carnegie Deli? Come on, Frank. Bowser
Billy
from
Joe.
What I remember
Shanana.
is O.J. Simpson.
Not a
The
Jew. But guess who is?
That's the only part.
Hall of Famer Rod Carew. He converted. By the way, and it's all coming together because for the first time, I think ever, the first night of Hanukkah is on Christmas Day. How about that?
Nice.
Wow.
If there
those
ever,
fighting words.
if there ever was
Yeah, it's
a sign that it's all coming together, that we should all be one, all right? That we should all be one faction, that there is no group above the other. Dare I say, there is no chosen
Wait,
people.
whoa. Pump the brakes.
You see what I did there? Nah. Happy holidays, everyone. We love you all. And on Friday, we're going to be back for a year in review of the year that was in European MMA. It'll be the Crack with Petesy Carroll. They'll be taking the baton. And, if things pop up as far as breaking news and whatnot, we okay, maybe we won't. Maybe we won't.
Speak for yourself. Speak for
Yeah,
yourself.
maybe we won't. Next week, though, we will have a fun deep dive into some classic interviews. And this is something we'll do throughout the coming year, but we'll do our first installation of this on the 30th of December. That is the plan, so stay tuned for that. And then we'll have a look ahead, a similar fashion, to the year to come in European MMA, led by the great Petesy Carroll and the team over there at the Crack. Was something sent to me here? I saw something pop up. Was there something sent? I was saying goodbye. No? Yes?
We were just asking if we're doing bold predictions.
Oh, yeah, you know what? I forgot about the bold predictions. Hey, you could get in my ear. I was literally about to say goodbye.
We forgot bold predictions, and then obviously
We went down this whole, fun...
and then we
I'm-
forgot to do the biggest mystery of 2025 as well.
I almost
sponsored
feel
by
like let's just
Series
drop our
Frank.
bold predictions, say
I didn't
nothing,
know
and
it was
just
a
go.
big-
Just one.
I didn't
Yeah,
know it was
biggest
the
bold
biggest
predictions
misstep.
as the music hits.
Wait. What's the biggest mystery?
That's Mysterious
that?
Frank's category that he was supposed to be.
Oh, that's... Fuck. I screwed this up, multiple times.
And were we intentionally not telling me about this?
No, it's in the text. It's in the group chat.
No, it's
I
not.
thought
No,
it
we
was in
can't
the
do
Slack
this.
too. We can't do it.
No.
with
I
no
have
bar.
the alerts
I screwed
on
it.
now.
I screwed it.
And the WhatsApp. And the
screwed
WhatsApp.
it.
You know what screwed us? Jordan and
Whoa,
Frank
wait.
talked about.
Bold prediction. No, bold prediction. What is it? Rick, bold prediction.
All right, this one's gonna. I tried to be very bold. Rumblings are going to begin. The pot is going to boil. Francis Ngannou return to the UFC.
Wow.
Oh,
I
that
love
is
it.
bold.
Bro, let me tell you
I
something.
love
That
it.
is-
There's a better chance of me, Turkey, and Dana having what
Okay, let me. All right, I said no explanation, but I'm gonna
It's a
explain.
bold prediction.
I'm
It's a
gonna
bold
explain.
prediction.
All right.
One fight left.
Yeah.
UFC can't make John Jones versus Tom Aspinall. What can we do? How can we make good on this? How do we establish Tom Aspinall? Francis Ngannou returns to the UFC. Francis Ngannou.
It's not a bad shot. By the way,
Bold.
Petesy, do you remember my bold prediction on the Ringer show?
I can't believe you're actually saying this. Yeah, it was great, but I mean,
What was
I'm a
it?
3 years I've got it right,
Wow.
my prediction, and you're gonna make this about you. Go
Well,
ahead.
what's-
Taylor Harrison.
what's
It was
your
fantastic. It was fantastic. Go ahead.
What was your
Go
bold
ahead.
prediction
I'll
this year?
No, I thought you'd size it up. I thought there'd be music playing before I made my bold prediction.
What was this?
So
Well,
you're
you-
just
you-
like a
tell us about
reigning
your-
bold prediction champ.
Blancharddamus.
you've got 'em.
Blancharddamus. What was it? I forget that.
Blancharddamus 2022. Leon Edwards KOs Usman to win the
Oh,
welterweight
wow.
title.
Wow.
2023. Amanda Nunes retires. 2024. Conor McGregor v Michael Chandler does not happen.
He did
And you can
say
say
all
that's
those.
rich.
He did
You can
say
say
all
that's-
those. Yes,
You
yes.
can say that's rich, but everyone was like, it's for sure happening this year. And I, once again, was balked at, was scoffed at. People were throwing fruit at me in the streets. And once again, I was right.
All right,
And that's
so-
the
okay,
main
this is
thing
the
about
perfect
show.
tee up.
Wait. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
2025. What is it?
2025. What's the bold prediction?
You're not going to like what I have to say about 2024.
Let's hear it.
You're not gonna like what I have to say about this. John Jones stripped of the heavyweight title.
Yeah, I could see it. Wow, what a theme!
And then we get what? Tom Aspinall, Cyril Gahn for the
Listen,
God.
the prediction is
God,
what it is.
imagine that.
Oh, so you're doing a victory lap about the Conor thing. I bet that Conor McGregor would fight in 2024, and it was plus 200, and the no was minus 300. So your bold prediction.
When
was
did you bet?
I bet it in
When did you bet?
January. January
in
this year.
December.
Yeah,
So-
lit it up, burnt it on fire.
I just, you know,
I
what?
like Petesey's indignation. Respect.
You're
the
right. You're right.
prognostication.
22, 23, 24.
Nostradamus is the name.
It is
That
a great
the
name,
greatest
but
I've ever heard.
may I remind you that my prediction was that Kayla Harrison was going to sign with the UFC and fight at 135 pounds. And at the
Insider
time,
trading.
I was going to say insider info.
Insider trade.
Insider
Insider
info.
this is crazy.
Insider trade.
This is crazy. It was pretty much a done deal. What I said. And I remember you guys reacted like, what? And I was like,
you were
yeah,
like,
you
what
know,
the-
Yeah.
I
She fought on UFC 300. The contract, the ink was already dry when you were
No,
she's going to sign
a-
with the UFC.
and she's gonna fight at 135 pounds. It was so wild. It was.
I know you guys were like, what? And I was
And
like,
she's
you know,
gonna
I'm
make
just
the
going.
weight, too.
I'm going off the reservation. You know, I'm just gonna go crazy on this.
I
one.
love how Ariel's prediction wasn't a prediction, and Petesey's for this year wasn't even bold. John Jones getting stripped. I mean, that's gonna happen next week.
What's the bold for
Well,
this year?
then we should get rid of the conversation. What did we said it would be one of the biggest stories of the year. John Jones v. Tom Aspinall. We should just scrap that then. You know.
Fair play. Good counter. Good
What's the
counter.
bold for this year, Ariel?
Okay, so
Oh, here we go.
Wait. Let me get my notepad. This is more insider info.
Jordan could attest to this, and I had one pick, and then I changed it because I didn't want to put that negative energy. But my original pick, and he has it in writing. My original pick was John Jones will not fight Tom Aspinall, and then I felt like it wasn't very bold. I felt like that's just kind of a prediction, right? So then I changed it to the UFC for the first time will split up its TV rights package, and now I'm starting to feel like that's not very bold either.
That
Like,
was
you
the
got?
story.
What's
feel
the
like that's
third?
the- I
What's the
feel like
third
that's the
You're
way
bullet?
of
overlapping
streaming.
categories here, mate.
What's the third bullet? Hit us.
I'm gonna go. There is no insider info here. Let me just preface this. Okay.
Hold on. I'm getting
I-
my tweet
That'll
ready.
save you.
Hold on. Here we go.
Running to the window to bet on this.
The UFC will acquire, in a transaction with the PFL, the rights to Dakota Tcheva.
Okay.
I love that. That is great. That is a great one.
They will make a deal, and by the end of the year, she'll be in the UFC.
Wow.
Who are they giving back? Or we're not making that prediction?
No, that's
the
too much for
Dakota
my
part.
brain to
Okay,
handle right now.
fair enough.
That's too much.
Yeah,
for
but that I do believe that he's not insider trading here because there's no way in hell PFL would be even entertaining a conversation like that right now.
no.
No way.
There's no. Listen, I'm telling you, there's no insider trading. Okay,
Oh, so-
don't get me in
okay,
trouble
sure.
here. all
I'm
right, with
saying
the Fed.
Francis. You're saying Dakota. You back to you.
I like it. I like it.
GC.
I've actually alluded to it a couple times throughout the show. I think we will get not one, not two, but 3 chances of someone going for double champ status in 2025.
Wow.
And one will be successful.
That's a good one.
Wow.
That's a great one. So only one out of
That's
the
a
4.
huge prediction. That is
I don't know
huge
how many will win. I'm just saying one will win. Someone will hold the belt simultaneously.
We will get a new double
We
champ.
could see Zhang Wei Li go up. We could see Alex Pereira go up. We could see Islam Makhachev go up. I mean, the way Ilia Topuria is talking, we could see Ilia Topuria go up.
Yeah.
Khamzat Chimaev wins the belt and then immediately says, let's go do a super fight against Alex Pereira at 205. That's my bold prediction.
I like it.
We get 3 shots at double champ status and one of them succeeds.
I like that one.
My bold prediction right before we hit record on this program is that this would be a tight 60-minute show, and no one believed me.
We're going to start at 5:15, right?
And no one believed me. And here we are in the 84th minute. Frank, you can tell everybody this is the song.
I love how a tight 60 minutes.
Suck it, man.
We're going like 45% over that.
It's always if you say
All or
60, it's
nothing.
always 90. You know, that's.
Oh, is that?
If
Why
I
don't
say
we
90,
just say
it's-
90 and then we go 84 and you're just like,
I like to
fucking
give the
told
hope.
ya.
I like
no,
to give the hope.
ya.
we know the Helwani math already. You don't have to inform us. We
Bold
know
prediction for next
this
year.
number-
This is gonna happen over and over again.
Listen,
It's like when
Post shows are
it's like when
10.
Wait, do we have
Anthony's-
Frank's bold prediction? Frank,
Pay-per-view
what's your
post shows
bold
are 10
prediction?
minutes.
My bold prediction is Jordan and I are gonna have a falling out,
jeez.
and then
Jordan's doing the Israel. Fuck me. What?
by
Yeah.
the end of the year, we're gonna be like, we won't be a falling out anymore. We're not gonna be best friends or anything.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh, you're going to make up, though.
Jesus.
You're gonna
This
make
feels
up.
What a
pointed.
weird.
Also,
Something happened while we're recording this, obviously.
This does feel like a little bit of what's it called when you like make it happen when you not manifestation but like when
Manifestation?
no there's something I'll think of it by the time
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
self-fulfilling prophecy, that is it, Ariel.
yeah.
Frank
It
is
feels
trying
like Frank's
to will
just
it into
waiting
existence.
to
Yeah,
make his move to start a beef.
that's it.
What's beef?
Is it a beef or is it a war? The war of the front bench.
Yeah, this is the front.
Frankie
With
versus
special guest
Andy is
referee
Switzerland.
Andy.
Andy is Switzerland.
Yeah, Andy is Switzerland.
She'll be the first casualty.
Can we talk about how y'all, the land y'all have there is just like 10x what me and Rick are working with.
This is another mention of
Me and
the,
Rick on
real
this
estate
is like
back
this
there.
just tiny island back here. Me and Rick are literally shoulder to shoulder back here. I mean, look at the real estate.
It is.
This
it
is showing
quite nice.
half their land.
It is quite nice.
We're on a folding table.
Happy holidays, everyone. We love you all. Thank you for watching. 2025 figures to be a very fun year in the world of combat sports. Of course, we just focused on MMA. We could have done another 90. Shall we do a 90-minute show on the 2025 year?
Let's
to
do
come
it.
in?
Roll into it.
Boxing and then pro wrestling. What about
I'm sleeping
kickboxing?
here tonight anyway.
BKFC.
I'm
should we
using
do
the
that?
shower.
Grappling. Most importantly, we thank you all for your support over the past year. Imagine we would have done a preview show at the beginning of 2024 and said, where will we end up? That was really the story of the year, but we just didn't want to make it about ourselves. And look at us now, fully up and running, operational, crushing it, the uncrowned kings of the combat sports media world. It's been a great time. I hope you all enjoy your holidays if you are celebrating with your family and friends. And again, if you happen to, for whatever reason, be alone on this holiday season, remember, better days are ahead, great times are ahead, and there's a ton of content that you can watch on our YouTube channel, but of course, a ton out there that you can do and have fun watching or partaking in as you look ahead to what will surely be. I can feel it in my bones. I'm speaking to you out there, Mr. or Madame. Surely be a great year for you, for us, for humanity. Peace on earth. Peace on earth. I was hoping at some point in all of that the music would kick in so that I wouldn't
So
have.
heartfelt.
But I wanted, like, it felt like a
Also,
wrapping up. Yeah.
Taylor Serrano 3, Serrano wins.
Oh, that's a good one. But that's boxing.
That's the boxing show, Frank.
Jesus. You wanted a bold prediction.
That's on the design.
Giving you two.
And you can tell everybody.
We do have to work on the Helwani Christmas holiday album.
I think I could handle it. I mean, I'm not great with the instruments. My daughter's actually really good at the piano.
Oh, that'd be sick.
Here's
Claire
my-
collab.
Here's my new 2025 bold prediction. By the end of the year, we get a press release coming.
Oh.
2026. Sweet 16.
Oh.
Story of the UFC in 2016 by Ariel Helwani.
Yeah.
Forward by Petesy Carroll.
Wow.
Why the fuck did you get
Chuck's gonna
Petesy
be
Carroll
very
to do
upset.
your forward?
Chuck's gonna be very upset.
Yeah.
Forward by Conor McGregor.
I was gonna say. I thought you were gonna say like uncrowned pay-per-view interview. Dana White in studio.
Yeah, Dana White's definitely coming.
Sorry, 2025 to 2045. I feel like.
Wow. Jeez.
Maybe.
All right. Remember, Rick, back in the day, we used to do the thing with like
Who we
what's-
wanted to
Yeah,
see.
one guest.
I gave up on the day in a while.
We had Lorenzo for a while.
Who have we
You've
not
always
had
had
in
Lorenzo.
studio?
Honestly, some years I picked one and then it happened.
Yeah.
The Rock was one of my picks, and then the next year we
I
had you
shot my
interview him.
shot.
Yeah.
Anyway, a great look ahead. We'll let you know how we did around this time next year, all right? So stay tuned for that. For now, though, happy holidays, much love, good night.